Alright, so a few weeks ago I did a video on the free series, specifically the P4 and the P2, and I wanted to kind of update people with where I'm at on the initial tool set that comes inside the tool. So I have modified these implements in a way that I think makes much more sense than the way it was originally designed. So I want to go through that, talk a little bit about it. Hopefully it won't take too long. So let's get to it. Alright, so for starters we have the P2, and the only thing I've done with this one is modifying the Phillips. This is actually the best example I have of my modification for this tool, and what this will do, of course, is allow it to work with the Leatherman bit exchanger, and that is a huge upgrade. That one upgrade will make any free series tool that you use far better than it currently is. And in fact, it'll actually improve the Phillips because it doesn't affect how it drives the screws, but it does make it tapered, and therefore it'll go into a socket a little bit easier. So you get to keep a long Phillips while still being able to use the Leatherman bits. I think this is the perfect hybrid approach. Now, what else have I done? So if we go to the free P series, the flatheads don't make a lot of sense. So if we pull out unmodified versions of all the flatheads, you're going to notice something really weird. Just these ones here. Now look at the width of these flatheads. What do you see? They're just too similar. The width in the case of this one is almost identical to this. This one's only slightly thicker, and yet this is about the same width this way as this one is. That doesn't make a lot of sense. The way they set this up with the three flatheads really doesn't make any sense. What ends up happening is this one is not used for anything because the ruler is pretty much not really a real function, and the wire stripper is just nothing compared to something that you'll find on the Leatherman Wave with the nice V-notch. It's just a lot of question marks for me. Now, what have I done here on the free P4 that is an improvement? So first of all, the larger flathead, which I think is probably one of the best implements on here with the package opener, what I've done is I've turned it into a true prying implement. So I have made it a wider flathead, so it is still a wide flathead. And one of the things I want to mention when you're doing these modifications, I've done all of them on the Work Sharp Kin Onion Edition blade grinder. And you're going to want to make sure that you cool the tools as you're using them to make sure that you do not mess with the heat treat or do it slowly. Make sure that the temperature does not go up so high that you affect the heat treatment of the steel. So by having this be both a larger flathead but still narrow and a prying tool, now I have a dedicated implement. So if I want a prying implement, that's what I use it for. Now, on the other side, I've done nothing to the small flathead / awl, and actually my experience with the small flathead specifically has actually been incredibly positive. As far as it being an awl, it's god-awful. It's not very good at that particular purpose, but you'll see how I fixed that when we look at the other implements as well. So that one has not been touched because of its use. So it's still good for sewing, I would imagine, but as far as drilling holes, not so much. So, now, there was another flathead on the end of this file, and what I've done here is I've actually tapered it and turned it into a drilling awl, okay? So, this actually works incredibly well. Now, this is an experience I've had by modifying a file on the Wingman, that the serrations on the straight cut will actually make drilling a little bit easier. So if you look really closely, it looks like the edge is sort of serrated, and I actually found that drilled much better. So what I did is I went ahead and I created an angled edge, and this is now able to drill a tapered hole. So depending on how deep it is, determines how wide that hole becomes. Okay, makes sense? If I want it long and narrow, I can use the other awl to kind of finish that up. So we have removed a flathead, but we really haven't lost anything. And the reason is because the flathead that was on it and this one are the same, pretty much the same width. The only difference is this one is a little bit wider. And if need be, I could in fact taper this down and get a narrow edge. But my experience with these is that this covers a lot of the smaller ones and some of the bigger ones. I don't necessarily want to change this. I think this is probably just fine. I don't get a lot of slotted screws to deal with, but now I have an implement directly related to slotted. It's not, you know, like when I'm looking around, I'm not trying to figure out, okay, do I take the file out? Do I take the all out? There's a clear distinction in size between all of the flatheads. So that is a big improvement. The last thing I've done is this. I have sharpened the can opener. This was actually a pretty atrocious, not that other word, can opener before. It now cuts far better, obviously, because I've made it sharp. But the other benefit here is that it allows me to create concave depressions in wood. So I can actually create a spoon, or like this basically turns it into a spoon gouge on top of what it was before. And I think that is a huge improvement as well. So just to recap what I've already shown in that video, the only other modifications I've made to the outside 4 tools is to improve the best serrated blade that they have. So far, this is easily the best serrated blade by turning it into a much larger drilling apparatus, so I can drill this entire thing and use it to make pegs. And then on the other side, we have the scissors, which what I've done is I've simply tapered them down to a finer point so they're better at doing hygiene-related tasks. That's it. So that's what I've done to the P4, and now I feel like this really is a very inclusive piece. It does not have the diamond file, but if you've watched my other videos, you know that I carry this key organizer, which has a diamond file from the free P2 that I've modified in here, along with a lot of other implements. So I don't have that concern personally. I do wish there was a way to do it, but no, it's not something that I need personally. So that's kind of the way where I'm at so far with the free P4. And I have to say, right now, it is very, very effective and efficient to have as an independent tool that I can carry without any additional implements. So if I'm not carrying the bit kit, it's still quite effective. It doesn't have the diamond file, like I said, but it is one-handable completely, and yeah, I like it. It's good. So there you go. You guys have a good day.